All right, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. Got a couple feats here that I want to talk about, man. So we kind of gonna be really heading into we gonna be really heading into Lions talk for a gear. So I'm gonna get to that Piston live probably tomorrow, and then let some more Piston news crank up. Then we just gonna be all gas on the Lions. So we're gonna make that transition. And at some point, we'll transition when the Lions go to training camp. We transition back to the line, but y'all know how it's gonna be in the fall. A lot of football, you know, mixed in with some Pistons. See everybody want the Tigers general manager Vila fire. We'll see if the Illegis make that happen. So we're gonna talk about Brown being the top 10 receiver in the red zone last year. But something that kind of went over my eye that came out a few months ago. Amon-Ra St. Brown is credited with the most catches without a drop in 2021. So Brad Holmes did his thing so far on his draft pick. So the only mistake he really made last year that gives a lot of people to give Jared Goff a pass is that he didn't find him a reliable enough of reliable outside receivers. They rely solely on the outside receivers that X that Z position. They relied solely on Terrell Williams, and he got injured in the first game and never was seen again in a Lions jersey. Panic got Trinity Benson. He wasn't ready. So, like I said before, that was really his miscues last year. Next year, he didn't make that same mistake. He picked up Josh Reynolds, which was a no-brainer last year, complete no-brainer. Made Jared Goff comfortable, came in, made an instant impact. The offense really turned around when they got Josh Reynolds, and people hoping the same thing happened with DJ Shark, which him and DJ Shark has no relationship in the past like him and Josh Reynolds. But now we have Jameson Williams, which is not much pressure for Jameson Williams to come out here because you got DJ Shark, But I said, speaking of the free agency list yesterday, they probably should be in the market possibly for another outside receiver, Julio or Deshaun Jackson or somebody that could run just in case Jameson Williams. And only they know what Jameson Williams at. Maybe you shut down Jameson Williams for a year and you make a move on T.Y. Hill. He's more of a slot, though. You make a real move on Deshaun Jackson just in case Jameson Williams might not be there next year, so you have some speed on the outside. There's a couple other guys out there as well, too. So maybe just in case, but, they know where Jameson Williams at. They know the plan they're going to have with Jameson Williams. So if it's a setback, some guys still out there. You can make some deals. You can make something happen. So, but nonetheless, Amon-Ra St. Brown credited with the most catches without a drop in 2021. And that was a stat that wasn't really talked about amongst the Lions community on television, on the national televised games. That's just something that we didn't talk about enough. And I'm like, dog, I really didn't see him really drop a ball. Now, he went through a dead zone season last year. He sure did, where, it just seemed like, Jared Goff didn't trust him. But some click, and shout out to Antoine Randall L. Something clicked, but it says Amon-Ra has a terrific rookie season, but ESPN has credited him with the most catches in the league without a drop last season. After a slow start rookie season, Amon-Ra was one of the most productive wide receivers in the NFL down the stretch in the 2021, 51 catches, 560 yards and touchdowns over the final 6 games. St. Brown's 75.6% catch rate last year was quite good. 90 catches on 119 targets in total over his productive closing stretch, with Tim Boyle starting 2 of those games. 16 of St. Brown's targets hit the ground. All right. He said, according to ESPN's Phil Yates, St. Brown had the most catches in the NFL last year without the drop and by a good margin. The most catches in the NFL in 2021 without a drop. Amon Brown, 90. 22 more than anyone else. Huge 2022 coming up for him. So if you're in the PPR league, points per reception league, they do that in daily fantasy football. He should be a guy. Him and TJ Hawkinson should really step it up next year when you're talking about receptions over the middle. And then last year, when we don't talk about enough, he started smoking people a little bit down the field on them flag routes and stuff of that nature. So he started smoking people down the field. So he reminds us of Hines Ward, tough / Debo Samuels, tough guy. But I think, and a lot of people not going to like this, in 49er land, I think he a more polished receiver than Debo Samuels, coming in and out of breaks and running routes, And I didn't know it was him, but there was an HBO special about him and his brothers. I believe his mother is German, and their mother was hard on them as far as the academics, and their father was hard on them as far as the athletics. So they had a whole HBO special about them. Check it out. You can find a clip on YouTube about all the St. Brown brothers. It was wild. I didn't know it was him until I brought it up last year. But did Amon-Ra really have zero drops? Drops are a pretty subjective stat. It can be very dependent on the source and even the person doing the proverbial judging. Indeed, Pro Bowl Focus gave St. Brown one drop last year. Jeff Rice and the Lions Wire pointed out, Pro Football Focus gave St. Brown two drops in the same game. Rising drove into the film. If I went back and rewatched it week two, it was pretty easy as assertion. Uh, he said, which passes Pro Football Focus credit as a drop since Brown caught three of his five targets in Green Bay. The first drop right before halftime did hit Brown in the hands along the sideline, but it appears the defensive back made a play on the ball just before Brown did. The second was just 2 minutes in the game into play in the game was not accurate pass from Jared Goff. So there you go, zero drops. So he didn't have a drop last year. So it's easy to think two drop our pro football game and Brown were not really even drops, landing him at zero drops in reality or upon ESPN's review as well. So yeah, dude, they had no drop. So it's subjective and all that shit. What a drop is, if it hit your hands, you should catch it. Some people say, but if a DB break it up, or like I said before, it depends. But I'm gonna trust Walt Disney with all their money and all their power behind them. I'm gonna trust Walt Disney. They got billions and $1 billion back. So that's who you gonna trust. So sorry for my nephew, man. He only two. But yeah, that's who I'm gonna trust. So I mean, um, but yeah, I mean it's an amazing stat. Even if he had two, you know how many targets Amon-Ra had last year? He had a lot. He had a lot of targets. He had 90 catches last year. 90 catches, 119 targets. So you look forward, if he stay healthy, look forward to a monster year. You know, you know. So you know, So I mean, it's crazy, bro. And he was hella because I think about I don't remember him dropping the ball. Them intermediate catches is tough as well, going over the middle and all that. So I said before, you ain't gotta be a deep threat. You ain't gotta have deep speed to be a deep threat. It's all about setting up. You the Devontae Adams, he ain't the fastest dude around. But the way he run his routes and set it up, Keenan Allen ain't the fastest dude around. But the way he, run his routes and set up DBs, he creates separation. So, like I said before, they talk about Debo Samuels and guys like Russ Welker. I think he bringing a little bit more flavor to the position. I think as far as Debo Samuel, I think he's a better receiver wise, running routes than Debo Samuels. But you don't know with Debo Samuels neither because they don't allow him to. They ask him to do so much different stuff, man. So, but Amon-Ra might be more polished. Debo might be a little bit more explosive, but they both tough and they both remind you of Hines Ward. Tough as they come. But nonetheless, let's continue on. So he keep really getting people excited. I mean, shit, I'm on the cusp of buying the man jersey. That's how good he is. Now the new thing is Amon-Ra was amongst the 10 best receivers in the red zone last year. You ask yourself, usually slot receivers, they ain't really known to be big red zone targets. Like you think about the Randy Mosses, or you think about the Larry Fitzgerald, the jump ball, Calvin Johnson, the Devontae Adams. You think about your best, receiver targets. You think more of the bigger receivers that's going to jump and high point the ball. So that's what you're trying to think of. But shout out to Brad Bierman, shout out to Sideline Report. It says while he was amongst the most productive receivers in the league over the final 6 weeks last year, Amon-Ra St. Brown also graded out as well for his work in the red zone. After a slow start of his rookie season, Amon-Ra St. Brown found his stride as opportunity. Not over the final 6 weeks last year, he was amongst the most productive wide receivers in the entire league. 50 reception, 560 yards, 5 touchdowns. St. Brown will remain a very prominent part of the Lions offense this year. If there's a best bet for who will lead the team in targets, Even as the target shares fall with better health of other key players, it'd be him. If Lions the head coach Dan Campbell could build a wide receiver with all the traits he wants, it'd be St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown among best red zone receivers last year. St. Brown had 15 red zone targets last season with per Ryer, with 4 going for touchdowns. Pro Football Focus ranked the best receivers in the NFL according to wide receiver grades in the red zone last year. With a 73.6 Pro Football Focus grade in the scoring area, St. Brown ranked ninth based on a minimum of 10 red zone targets. He was eighth. DK Metcalf, Adam Thielen, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Hunter Renfrow, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Russell Gage. Let me see who the last 10th one is. So, and Jamar Chase at 10. So you got a couple slot receivers up here: Cooper Kupp, Brown, Hunter Renfrow, and Russell Gage. So game definitely changing. Instead ninth, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Trey Lions receiving a grade of 73.6. While St. Brown surprised the NFL landscape with a solid rookie campaign, his red zone play was fairly average. He snagged 10 of his 15 targets for 82 yards and 4 touchdowns. In addition, he caught 90.9% of his catchable targets. And you can look at all the quarterbacks that everybody was matched up with last year: Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, um, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins again, Hunter Murray, Derek Carr, Russell Gage, Matt Ryan, and you had who was 10th again? Forgot that quick. And you had Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Joey Ice Baby. So he had the Buffs on too. So I mean, you know, and in line with the late surge, 10 of St. Brown's 15 red zone targets came over the final 6 games last season, with multiple red zone targets 3 times. So he really did his thing last year. St. Brown doesn't profile as a red zone maven based on his sheer physical size, 6 foot tall and less than 200 pounds, but success in that compressed area of the field is also aided by being a route running technician, combined with a likely uptick in volume and more space and work. And it'd be no surprise if St. Brown lands pretty good red zone grant for Pro Football Focus again this season. So yeah, it won't be surprising. I also think Josh Reynolds helped open things up for him. I think they need somebody down the field to do what Tyrell Williams was brought here to do, and that's open more red zone threats up. So open the field up more, and that allowed him to work. Imagine if he was continued to have. Imagine if he continued to have. TJ Hawkinson. So him and Hawkinson really should eat the middle of the field and intermediate. They should eat it up, and they might be able to get some looks down the field too, with everybody really pressing down on Shark and JMO and what's my man's name, and Josh Reynolds. So it should be a little bit it should be a lot of space up underneath down open down the field too. So he started to get it down the field. So then he dealing with a not so good quarterback too. So and he's still putting up those good numbers. So I mean, obviously, we was talking about how Bleacher Report had a take on the Lions, and they were saying that they felt that one of their bold predictions was the Lions was going to have a winning record. You know, and at the end of the day, they didn't even name Amon-Ra St. Brown as one of the reasons why in the short, paragraph. They didn't even name him as one of the reasons why. So, like I said before, he said, the NFL gonna try to make an adjustment to the Amon St. Brown and what they doing and running the ball and all that. They're gonna try to make an adjustment. Mark my word, they're gonna try to make an adjustment. But the additions of the re-addition of Hawkinson being healthy, Jameson Williams, DJ Sharp, and Josh Reynolds, you know what I'm saying, and a healthy offensive line. If you bracket and double him, then really if Jared Goff can get in rhythm with DJ Sharp, that's good enough because he already got a rhythm and a rapport with my man's with Josh Reynolds, so it can get real spooky out there, man. So yeah, let me know what you girls and guys think. Check the Detroit Pistons Talk playlist out. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, the subscribe button, it's the bell icon button. Hit all notifications. Increase your chance to get notifications. We'll live drop a video. And then you want to support the channel. Cash App, $ CJ Good 313. Venmo CJ Good 313. PayPal link description. And then you want to support the channel. Cash App, $ CJ Good 313. Venmo CJ Good 313. PayPal link description. Hit the link tree. Find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Reach out there. If you got a business question, car response, video question, chop it up. For names, you want to support the channel, Cash App, $ CJ Good 313, Venmo CJ Good 313, PayPal in the description. Other than that, you can find my Spotify there. Support and follow, watch me, and listen to me on Spotify, and rate me on there. You can listen to me on Anchor as well too. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal's inside the link tree as well too. Appreciate the love support. Let me know what you girls got in the comment section. Peace.